Hello, Fiction Addiction Café. It's just me again. It's Colin Derham. I'm here to celebrate Tal Frost's amazing new epic released today, Sons of Heaven and Hell. Thank you so much, Tal, for having me at your party. It's an honor to be invited. And thank you so much, Eleanor, for hosting it. It's fantastic. It's 2 a.m. here. Well, it's after 2 a.m. And so it's been a long wait. Let me just get this camera straight. A long wait, but I'm still awake and I'm fine. I had to go and shower just to perk myself up so I didn't fall asleep. But yeah, I've completely forgotten the dozens of authors here today, but I'm in very good company and I'm very honored to be invited. So we've had a lot of new releases at the moment. I believe this is Tal's second book, and it's another long MM fantasy. I've read the blurb and all that, so it involves demons and angels and werebears. It all looks really fascinating. I'm still not sure what a werebear is, but I'm really keen to find out. And I'm wishing them all the best for this launch, and I hope you have a huge success with it. You deserve it. And I'm so happy that all you people are here to support this book and supporting new authors, which is fantastic because, it's really, really hard when you start out. And, we've got a few more. Let me get this chair up a bit. It's a bit low. We've got a few more experienced, successful, high-flying authors here today, which is really, really nice of them to come and celebrate with us. Now, I'm just popping on for 10 minutes or so to talk about Nervous Kid. Now, you've probably seen me harping on about this. We don't need to really go into the whole plot of it at all. It came out about 4 weeks ago. No, it came out on the 12th, so 1 month ago. And I had a wonderful bunch of a couple of dozen ARC readers. You're all marvelous. Thank you so much. Who were so supportive and really, really helped boost it on its way. And I think a couple of you have graciously agreed to come and watch me blabber on, which I'm so happy about. Thank you so much. And this book, so it's the one that is basically about the two teenagers that meet, have a taboo affair, and the family falls apart and they don't see each other. This rift lasts for a couple of decades and they run into each other by chance again when they're about 39 and 41 years old. So it's a bit over 20 years because they're, 18 back then. So it's throughout their teenage years they knew each other. And this is going to be back to front, but that's the cover with the hot tattooed guy on there. I just think he's pretty divine. And, my lovely brother got me these shirts made up, this fantastic shirt. He actually gave me a Christmas present of shirts of all my books and plus two others with like a collage of them. So I'm just like, parading around town with these and people are asking me questions and that sort of thing. It's really, really quite shameless, but oh well, whatever. I said to him, why couldn't you get me tighter ones, because that's the bear look now. We want to wear these little footy shorts and tight t-shirts and that, this is the costume and you got to dress appropriately. Anyway, so this book, it's the usual, bit under 300 pages, and I've already gone on about the plot and all that, so I might just talk a little bit about the characters and we'll go through some of the triggers and all that because, I've had a few little, slaps on the wrist from Goodreads about apparently not giving triggers about, absolutely everything that happens in the book. So we'll have a chat about that. The characters in this book, so when they're teenagers, you know, they're rough around the edges. They've got a suburban upbringing in a little city at the top of Australia called Darwin. It's a really, really steamy, tropical sort of city. It's very, very cut off. And being set at the end of the 90s, I lived there, and there were no cheap flights or anything. There was none of that then. 1 or 2 airlines only flew there, and it was really expensive to fly to the rest of Australia. And, you know, we're like even more spread out than Canada. We just have long, thousands of kilometers. So like not as many miles, but, you know, lots. And you don't get to go anywhere very often. So you're in a very insulated existence. So these teenagers grew up there. Well, one of them did. Then the other one moves from a city up to Darwin. But you know, look, that's beside the point. The crux of it is it's kind of rough. It's a hard place to live in. It's very hot. It's very isolated. And, you know, now it's probably really, you know, quite different. There are a lot more flights. They're more affordable these days. And, you know, we're talking about it in the 90s. That was the beginning of the internet generation. Back then, if you're as old as I am, because I'm going to be 50 next year, how embarrassing. But only big tech heads had the internet. You know, people that had money, because it was expensive. We were all like, oh, I'm using Windows 98 and stuff like that. So the whole landscape changed earlier in the 2000s when it became mainstream to do a lot of things online. So that they are more cut off. And when these characters lose touch, there's no social media, there's no strong use of internet, that sort of thing. And it's very easy. If you're like me and you knew people back then, you didn't really have much to keep in contact. You know, you'd write letters or whatever. You might ring them on the telephone. You wouldn't use a cell phone, a mobile phone, because it cost like $2 a minute or something to call people. It was insane. Ringing on a mobile back then was like, hi, I'll see you in a minute, and then you hang up. You know, even a text, you know, if you remember text, when it was like, how little letters can I put in here so that I can fit as much info in a text message and still get them to understand it. You know, that went all out of fashion with smartphones because, you know, like they just guessed our words anyway, with none of these little acronyms and abbreviations and stuff like that. Anyway, so now we've rabbited on about that. That was their mindset. So lives move apart and they come back together. And so Ryan is a big bear of a man. And I mean, this man looks like a muscle man, but I've got photos. The photo goes down lower, and other photos, he's a bear. He's got the padding and the belly and that, you know, and, you know, unfortunately I couldn't have fit all of that on the cover. But yeah, he's a big bear of a guy. He's very quiet and withdrawn because he's had trauma in the past that he hasn't really dealt with, and he's kind of cut himself off from society. And the boyfriend character is Dominic, and he's the one that he had the affair with as a teenager. And he's now a successful lawyer. He's still an awkward bloke. Like, he's still very Aussie. He's from Brazil, but he's lived here since he was a little kid, so he's very Aussie. And they've got foul mouths, and they say bad stuff. And Colin here gets called a misogynist because he says words like girls or chicks or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not me. It's not me. It's the character. I'm not going to make him sound like a hipster from LA because they're not. They're working class, you know, beer swilling bad blokes. And we make our characters sound like they are. I think we do. Anyway, so he is a bit of a smart ass, this Dominic. He's like a tall, so slim otter, about the same size. They're actually about medium height, slim otter. So he's a slim, hairy Latino guy who's very Aussie. And he's very chirpy and gregarious and fun and confident. whereas Ryan is the big bear guy, is quite withdrawn and quiet, but a very solid person. And Dominic has a son. So Oscar is an 8-year-old, and he's one of those kids that asks a lot of questions. Kids come up with their blatant honesty, and they come up and ask the most inappropriate things, or they make the most inappropriate statements. So it was really fun getting Oscar to say all these things that kind of startle or embarrass the adults, because he's just so innocent and he has no filter. So that's his son, who lives mostly with his mum and a little bit with his dad. There's a whole custody thing going on there because, as I've mentioned in the past, Dominic, in these 20 years, he's bisexual, and he's sort of suppressed that side when he got married, and had a monogamous marriage, doing his best to focus on that side of himself, but found that it was just too much. He couldn't do it anymore, and decided that with the romantic and sexual side of the marriage dying off, that it was best that they separate. So they're the two main guys, and the son. There's another man there who comes back in flashbacks. His name is Owen, and he's like a cute little man, blonde little electrician that Ryan has a relationship with, and we flash back to that in the past. But there's a whole lot of trauma around that, and Ryan has not let go of this. So that his name is Owen. And then the other two kind of main characters here are Marissa and Rani, and they're like an alternative lesbian couple. Marissa is like this svelte femme rock singer lesbian who's like into crystals and alternative things, loads of jewelry and stuff, and just like an amazing singer in a band. I'm not writing glamorous stuff here. She's not going on MTV or anything. She's playing at pubs with her lesbian band. Just doing the gritty trooper sort of thing. And her girlfriend is Rani, and she's what, now this is what my American lesbian friends say, soft butch. She's soft butch. So she's kind of manly, and quite an alternative psychoanalyst. She's into a lot of meditation and stuff like that. And Anna, you're amazing, helped me a lot with this character when I originally wrote her. Now, she's the only crossover character in this book, but she appeared in this book, One Night Stand, in a big role as a psychoanalyst. Kind of a bit out there, renegade psychoanalyst. And she's a really awesome character to write because she doesn't even get to say much, but she does so much. She's a massive influence on really helping Ryan overcome his demons, let's put it that way. So there are other smaller characters, but they're pretty much the main ones. There's the three guys, there's the two friends, there's Ryan's mother and his stepdad Joe, who's Dominic's dad. She's a Blanche Dubois, so Streetcar Named Desire, that kind of woman with beautiful looks but low self-esteem, who's always needed a relationship, always needed a man to hold on to, and flits from one to the other and finds it really hard to have a stable relationship, and loses Ryan and his brother Nathan's dad when they're kids, like he dies. So that's not a spoiler, whatever. And it's off page, okay? It's off page. We never meet him. It doesn't happen on the page. So there's no trauma there. So anyway, done enough about the characters. So Ryan's stepdad is a lovely Brazilian man, just very kind, very sweet and nice. There's no drama with him. He's very much there to support the other characters. There are a lot of triggers in this book. and I've listed them in the inner blurb. Now, people say, why does it only say this much on Amazon? Well, you know, you are actually pushing the envelope to put any kind of trigger on Amazon. You do the least you can, like you would get on a DVD. Do you remember DVDs? Are you old like me? On a DVD box where it goes, you know, occasional coarse language, adult themes, and low-level violence. That's all you'll get. You don't get any of this, oh, he does this and he does that, but it's not this and it's not that. 3 paragraphs of everything that happens in the book. It's you don't get to do that. So I put a bit more of a list in the inner blurb, as a lot of writers do, because you don't get that opportunity to do it on Amazon. So if anyone looks up on Amazon, do the look inside and you'll see the further triggers. But main trigger in this is there are taboo relationships. There's a lot of bad language. They use the C word, and there's lots and lots of detailed things in the bedroom and various other places like back alleys and swimming pools and that sort of thing, because we know what I'm talking about. So it gets a bit spanky and kinky and that sort of thing as well. On a more serious note, there is a violent attack. It's random that one of the MCs suffers, and I put this in for dramatic reasons, but it's also really, I like to, you know, I know authors say this, it sounds really, you know, but that I wanted to talk about difficult issues, and it is something that, I mean, of course, across the board, it's really bad, you know, being attacked and violated. But this is something that isn't really talked about, like, with gay men. There's so much shame that, you know, they're supposed to be, you know, a man and this can't happen to men. And there's a lot of self-blame too, because in this instance, it's basically a rough, casual encounter that quickly turns violent. And so that's in there for dramatic purposes, but that's another trigger. It's not there to be sensationalized, but it's a realistic issue, and you know, I didn't cut it for that reason, because I thought, no, it's important to try and shed what little tiny bit of light I can onto that. There are a lot of grief and loss issues with Ryan. There is recollection of an attempt, a suicide attempt. It's not grisly, but it is something that's haunted him. And what else? God, what else is in this book? I've already mentioned the sort of the you know, wild kink bits and that. And oh, it really escapes me now. But maybe I've covered it all. Should I actually look in the book? I don't even think I can see it, but you'll have to bear with me a second. I'm sorry. No, it's not even in here. Is it? No, yes. No, look, that's it. I've told you all of it. You'll have to excuse me. I'm very, very blind and I can't read paperbacks unless they're that far and I strain my eyes. So this is Nervous Kid. It is on Kindle Unlimited for a while. I had a lot of difficulties and a lot of dodgy troubles here and there. That's how it is at the moment though. And I'm going to just do a post for a giveaway, because of course we've had so many troubles on Facebook with a lot of parties, and authors are getting blocked and jailed. Sorry, not blocked, chucked in the clink because Facebook thinks it's spam. So we've had to carefully word our giveaway posts. So I'll have one of them going up later, like soon, when I finish writing it, and that'll be for Nervous Kid. And I've got some lovely comments. Oh, Ellen, it's so lovely for you to be here. And thank you for switching on live just for me. That's so nice of you. KC, foul mouth. Yeah, yes, Dominic has a foul mouth, and Brian. Brian. See, this is KC's character, Brian. I've got it on the brain. Oh, and Nadia as well. Everyone's got a Brian. Well, this is a Ryan. Actually, everyone's got a Ryan too, haven't they? Nedra, I'm so glad you made it. Nedra messaged me just as I was about to get on here. Yes. Oh, yes, trigger warnings. Yes, we covered trigger warnings. Detailed things in the bedroom. Yes, detailed things in the bedroom. All these ways we mention this content in our books without actually mentioning it, because, you know, Amazon, Facebook, you know, we're forever getting into trouble for saying stuff. Lovely to see you, Kimberly. Thank you so much for coming. And I think I missed you anyway, because you're saying goodbye. And no, I can't really see down further. Anyway, I'm going to go now, because it is now, like, I'm sure I've gone over my 15 minutes, but I'm so happy that you guys all came and joined and listening to me babble at, 2:30 in the morning when I'm not particularly switched on. But I'm very, very pleased that I've been invited. Thank you to Tal again, and to Eleanor. I hope you have a wonderful party, and I will sign off. Big hugs, big bear hugs to everyone, and have an awesome, it's still Monday there, Monday, it's Tuesday here, but have an awesome Monday, okay? Take care.